Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something profound. A book called Ambassadors of Light by Gohar. We've got a great book review as our source, and basically our mission here is to explore these incredibly powerful stories about disability, about compassion, and really shed some light on challenges that honestly are still so widely misunderstood.
And that light is just so crucial, isn't it? Because these stories, they're not just anecdotes. They act like a lens, showing us how society perceives things, the struggles families face, often completely unseen. And the sheer resilience of people facing unbelievable odds. It's not just about suffering, though, that's there. It's also about these moments of incredible strength and empathy. How powerful that can be.
Okay, so let's dive in then. The book, right away, it confronts this big societal issue. How people with mental disabilities are often treated.
Yeah, it doesn't shy away from that.
No. And the reviewer notes this stark difference. Physical problems might get sympathy, but mental disabilities, often misunderstood, stigmatized, leading to mockery instead of support.
It's a really jarring contrast. Physical challenges, people often rally around. There's a kind of community support sometimes.
Right.
But mental disabilities, maybe because they're less visible, harder for some people to understand. They can, unfortunately, just invite judgment or, real insensitivity.
Definitely.
It makes you ask, why? Why does society react like that so often? And what are the actual, real-world effects of that?
Well, the effects are pretty devastating. The book gives this example, Begum Saleha Mirza's son, Bobby, and it talks about the pain of people mocking him directly, calling him palo, and we should probably explain that's a really hurtful term, basically means half crazy in some cultures, carries a lot of shame.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And this mockery was so awful for his mother, it actually led her into a severe depression. She stopped going out completely.
She treated it.
Exactly. She would only visit homes where she knew Bobby would be treated kindly. The basic human decency.
That just hits hard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It shows how these attitudes, they don't just hurt the person with a disability, they ripple outwards.
Yeah.
Affect the whole family.
Absolutely.
Her story, becoming isolated like that.
Yeah.
It's like a defense mechanism, trying to shield her child from that cruelty. It just speaks volumes about the isolation misunderstanding can cause.
And it wasn't an isolated case, that kind of insensitivity. There's another story, Tari Mazim's younger sister. She developed a mental disability after having meningitis as a child. And Tari remembers people asking really weird, intrusive questions. Even a relative suggesting the sister's condition was somehow like a punishment for the mother's past sins.
Well, that's just awful, that kind of thinking.
Right. And here's something truly shocking. After the sister passed away peacefully at age 14, literally right after the funeral. People were apparently demanding food, even asking for leftovers to be packed up to take home. Just zero sensitivity to the family's grief.
Wow. That level of just lack of awareness, especially in that moment, grieving, it's staggering.
It is.
It really shows a deep, deep disconnect, doesn't it? A failure to understand the emotional weight on these families. They need empathy, support, not demands for leftovers.
Exactly. It shows how far we still need to go. So, okay, if that's the backdrop society creates, what about the families themselves, especially the mothers who often carry so much of the caregiving burden? The book gives us some really gut-wrenching glimpses into that.
Yeah, the dedication, especially from mothers, it's a huge theme, right? The book really highlights the sacrifices they make, things nobody else sees.
Totally invisible sometimes.
And the toll it takes on their own health, their own well-being. What specific stories about that burden really stood out to you from the review?
Well, the story of Sophia Gohar, she's a mother of a disabled child.
Yeah.
And she talks about this desperate wish for just a little help from society.
Like what?
Like even just someone caring for her child for a short while, just so she could rest, get some sleep. She says, get this, she couldn't sleep for more than half an hour at a time for 3 years.
3 years, half an hour's sleep.
Yeah. 3 years.
You can't even really comprehend that. It's beyond exhaustion. It's like a slow destruction of a person.
Totally. And it led to her own mental health collapsing. Depression, irritability, confusion, the works.
It's not just a sad story. It points to something systemic, right? A huge lack of support for caregivers. It forces you to ask, what happens when people are pushed that far?
Right.
And what's our collective responsibility to step in before they just break?
And it's not just the physical side, the sleep deprivation. Another mother, Mrs. Faiza, she has a mentally disabled daughter.
Okay.
She really emphasizes how vital support and counseling are for parents in her situation. She describes parents of disabled children as being in this constant state of shock.
Ah, that makes sense. It's ongoing.
Yeah, and it badly affects their ability to think clearly, to understand what's happening, to cope.
That really drives home the idea of ongoing trauma. It's not like one bad event they get over.
No.
It's this continuous pressure cooker of managing complex needs while dealing with their own emotional distress. So counseling, support groups, they aren't luxuries.
Definitely not.
They're essential lifelines for these parents to just keep going for their own mental health and to keep providing that care.
And adding another layer, Tarim Azim, whose sister we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Her mother had this constant nagging worry about her sister's personal hygiene as she got older because the sister just didn't have the awareness to manage it herself.
That highlights the really private, intimate struggles, doesn't it? The things that happen behind closed doors.
Like that.
Things the outside world rarely sees or even thinks about. That kind of care needs immense patience, so much love, and probably redefining what normal even means for that family is a huge, often hidden part of the daily reality.
But despite all these incredible challenges, the harsh realities, the book also shows these moments of amazing resilience.
Yes, that's so important too.
This deep human desire just to live a full life,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These stories are powerful reminders that people with disabilities, whatever their challenges, they have their own unique lives, their own dreams. Their inner worlds are just as rich, just as complex as anyone's. And their strength can be truly remarkable.
Like Miss Ashraf's son, Amir, he had a complex illness right from birth.
Okay.
But despite that, he was studying in 9th grade in a regular class with other kids.
That's great.
Yeah, but here's the part that really gets you. During playtime, he couldn't go out to the playground with the others. So his teacher, meaning she would read him storybooks in the library instead, which sounds nice, but
it highlighted his separation.
Exactly. Amir wrote this emotional letter to a friend about how painful it was being alone in the library while everyone else was playing.
That makes you think harder about what inclusion really means, doesn't it?
Totally.
The teacher's action came from a good place, compassion. But Amir's letter shows that real inclusion isn't just about being in the same room.
Right. It's about connection.
It's about feeling like you belong socially, being part of the group. It's a tough lesson. Integration isn't always inclusion.
Then there's another story, Shazia Salam's son, Tariq. He was mentally disabled.
Okay.
And there was this incident where the school called her, upset, telling her to come pick him up.
Why? What happened?
Because he was apparently walking around during class instead of sitting still and listening. And the teacher just saw it as bad behavior, as indiscipline. They had no idea about his condition.
Right. And that just screams need for awareness, doesn't it? And training. Within schools, everywhere.
Definitely.
What looks like a simple behavior issue to someone who isn't aware could be directly related to the disability. It shows why we need individual understanding, not just rigid rules.
But then, to offer some hope, maybe one of the most uplifting stories is Mariam Hassan.
Ah, yes. Her story is quite striking.
She was born without arms, and there was immense pressure, apparently, societal pressure, maybe even suggestions she shouldn't survive.
Just heartbreaking to even think about.
But Mariam herself had this incredibly powerful desire to live. She famously said she wanted to wear bangles, bracelets.
A symbol.
A symbol of wanting a full, normal life on her own terms. And her story got national attention, which led to this amazing outpouring of support. And eventually, she got married, became a mother, a completely different outcome than what some expected.
And what's so powerful there is seeing how public awareness, that collective support, can genuinely change a life's trajectory.
It really can.
Mariam's story is just this incredible testament to resilience, yes, but also to the positive impact of acceptance and encouragement from society. It's like the flip side of the stigma we talked about earlier. It shows what's possible with compassion.
So wrapping up our deep dive into Ambassadors of Light, we've really covered a lot. The painful reality of misunderstanding, the huge, often silent burden on caregivers.
An invisible weight.
And yet also this incredible resilience, this human spirit just pushing for connection, for a full life.
Exactly. And the book's core message, like the reviewer points out, it definitely sheds light on a lot of suffering. That's undeniable.
Yeah.
But maybe just as importantly, it illuminates the need for compassion, for understanding. It sort of urges us to look past the surface, doesn't it?
It really does.
To try and see the deeper realities, the unseen battles that people around us might be fighting every single day.
So for you listening, what does all this mean? Maybe it's just a nudge, A reminder to think about how a little more understanding, a bit more support in your own day-to-day interactions, how that could genuinely make a massive difference in someone's life, or maybe just pausing to reflect on that quiet strength, those hidden struggles all around us.
Yeah, and perhaps thinking about how we, even in small ways, can help build a slightly more empathetic world, something to carry with you.